Good afternoon. It was a warm, bright, and sunny day. It is Wednesday, the 9th of August. I've got a nice hot cup of tea and package to continue unboxing. And this package contains issues of Senet Magazine, the magazine which clearly states that board games are beautiful. This is a board gaming magazine, and this is issue 7, which was published in the spring of 2022. So I'm slowly catching up with these. These constantly are a stunning little art magazine dedicated to reviewing and talking about board games. Usually lots of interviews with creators and showcasing the artwork and the board games. So we open up editorial, advert for Princess Bride board game, contents page, and behold is the section of previews. So this is a year out of date or so. So you look through and go to purpose of this is sort of look through and see what's coming out, and see whether or not you're going to be interested in it. And of course, in fact, in retrospect, to actually go back and see whether the game actually came out or is out yet, because of Kickstarter can be delayed, and see whether it's still worth waiting for. So I've got interesting games listed in the issue here for behold. That looks like an interesting sort of gothic horror game. So a lot of these games I don't recognise, but it's my interest in board games is not quite as strong as it once was. Letters page, and then we've got the continuing designer's journey for. Gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of the game. Oh well, it doesn't matter. And then we get on to word games. And typically, this looks at a particular. This sort of article looks at a particular type of games. So whether that's sort of like roll and write, or worker placement, or deck building, this is word games. And looking at their history and so on, most obviously dominated by the board game Scrabble, for all of which I'm an editor. I'm actually rubbish at. I like words. I mean, they don't literally sort of. I'm not. Then don't immediately come to name. Got a nice list here of board games born to party. They're essentially word games born to party, which sort of like take a word game. You wouldn't normally take a word game to a party to play, or play necessarily with a non-board gaming audience. But here we've got a list of several. And then we have an interview with artist Francesca Barold, and the other great thing about Senet is that it showcases the artwork of the artists who illustrate the board games to a really great effect. And this is fantastic artwork, and you almost wish that she wasn't actually drawing for board games or illustrating board games, just role-playing games. That's a great city for investigating as part of a role-playing setting. And similarly, again, she actually has had some role-playing experience, and this is for the role-playing game Blackbirds, which just won Emmys. So yeah, that's the sort of like one of the maps for Gloomhaven. And we've got more of artwork in here. And then we've got to Descent Legends of the Dark. That's essentially Fantasy Flight Games, basically big dungeon bash board game. And she's really worked on some quite big games here. Some sort of really kind of big, sort of like board stroke role playing games, and then we have essentially, and talking about another type of game. This is the trading card games. Essentially, this perhaps could have been published here a year later, just about now. I mean, basically, as I passed this August 6th, it's the 30th anniversary of Magic. So we've got a history of the trading card game, and it's often forgotten that there have been so many trading card games. Some of them sort of like just rubbish pieces of design, others worthy attempt, all trying to jump onto that bandwagon of Magic the Gathering, and also more latterly Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and really beyond those core three. Yes, there have been some successes, but none have remained in print for as long as those three games. They've all gone away. They've all gone out of print. They've all come back again, and so but they do come, but they've all gone out of print at. And become sort of collectible more than what they are. I mean, obviously there's a whole collectible element to a trading card game. And they've got an interview with Anton Boza, who is famously the designer of Seven Wonders, which even sort of like 10, 11 years on is still a fantastic board game. Really parsed down the whole concept of playing a civilization style game into 45 minutes, 30 minutes, and doesn't mess around with the map. But anyway, here we've got a good interview with him, as with other issues of Senet, interviewing a designer and talking about his ideas, what he's working on, and so on. Things like, for example, one of the games, so we've got Hanabi there, which is a really good game of essentially a puzzle solving when you can't see the pieces, you can only guess at them. Quite a lengthy interview, and again the chance to show off, what he's worked on, what he's working on, and some of the games and so on. And unboxed is the review section. So a chance to give always gives a chance to show off the game, write about it. With absolutely fantastic images. And here, essentially, with the review section, as with any section of a magazine, a gaming magazine, here are some games which we think you will find interesting and should try. There's quite a few here that I have not come across, have not played. And sort of very quick couple of reviews at the end, and then we have the best of 2021, which is Team Senet's top 10 games of last year, with a few late 2020 entries we just couldn't ignore. So you've got an interesting set of titles there to look at and say, just are they worthy of the accolade from the magazine? And then cultivating collection, basically how to, essentially, how to use and work your collection to its best advantage, to get the most out of it. Almost an article I could do with myself for my own role-playing collection, but this applies to board games, of course. And then Shelf of Shame is an article that's essentially talking to a designer or a figure from the hobby, saying, what board game have you got on your shelf which you've never played, and saying, okay, again, to write about it and pull off the shelf and play it to see whether whether it should have remained on the shelf, or they've been remiss in leaving it up there. And this time it's John Robinson of the Dark Room, who is a comedian and performer, and always has an event at UK Games Expo. So yeah, that is Senet issue 7. Fantastic cover, and bound to be a good read if you're interested at all in board games. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And if you've got any comments, excuse me, or feedback, then I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here in the Nook with a package or box from which I will unbox a book or game, or in this case a magazine, and talk about it to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. Be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.